Hey everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trial number 252. Let's see who shows up. Okay, not a super exciting set of champions. There's a lot of garbage coming up between these cards. If we're taking the Gangplank, we're stuck with Monkey Business. If we're taking the Shyvana, we're stuck with the Confront. If we take the Tryndamere, we're stuck with It That Stares. And so we're gonna get stuck with something bad one way or another. And as far as these go, it's pretty tough. I think I would typically, if I was just trying to shoot for 7 with this, take the Tryndamere. We've had a lot of success here recently with these Tryndamere decks, stacking up a bunch of Omen Hawks, chasing after the Yetis, and then having a reasonable way to close out with the Freylord style overwhelms. That's pretty good stuff. You don't like It That Stares. My problem with It That Stares is, like, if we look at a Tryndamere as far as the late game is concerned, he closes the game out real quick, right? You've probably done some damage to your opponent before turn 8. He can threaten in 2 turns in a row for, roughly 17 overwhelm damage. He ends the game real quick. You play something like It That Stares, it just gets blocked over and 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 over again. And he can't really close out games. And so I'm not a huge fan of it. It's just such a big mana investment for not very much payoff. And so not a huge fan of this. So it's tough. Like, I'm going to go ahead and say that, the Shyvana is going to be the worst of these. Yeah, come on, bud. I just don't think that there's, like, a lot of direction that you can take with the Shyvana, right? We're just going to have to take, if we want to do dragons, we have to just take the Targon card and then hope, the dragons show up appropriately. These cards are not particularly good for any of the themes that we could be pulling off, and just not that exciting of a card set. Man, I'm just finding it real challenging to get inspired by any of these sets of cards. But I think we have drafted Gangplank reasonably recently, and I wasn't real happy with how the outcome of that draft went. And so let's go ahead and just try to take this Gangplank and see if we can't do a little bit better than the last time. Okay, and I took a moment to get LOR Guardian up. So, yeah, if we're going to take the Gangplank here, we'll take a moment and get him pulled up on the site. If you're not familiar with the site, it's ftpbus.com. It's where I keep all of my expedition-related content. We're just going to be over here on the main page or the expedition helper, however you prefer to get here. We'll go down to the little box, click on Gangplank and Mega Keg. That was a Mega Keg, right? Yeah, okay. And so that pairs up with a with Swain. Kind of the idea here is we're looking to get some kind of value out of these Powder Kegs, and so Gangplank makes them. There's a few units that actually generate them mainly in the Dreadway Deckhand and then Petty Officer. And so then we've got these Powder Kegs on board. We need some kind of way to take advantage of the additional damage. We typically try to do it with AoEs. The ideal AoE being Make It Rain. But whatever removal spell you can get with this is fine. And so we do want to be pairing this up with ideally with another faction that can do some direct damage. With Swain on the partner side of this pool, you're typically trying to use cards like Death's Hand, since it gets 2 values out of having Powder Kegs on the board. And then they both kind of have some dual synergies. And right, the big thing we talk about with Gangplank or his other partner in Sejuani is that we need a way to deal damage to our opponent on their turn, right? On our opponent's turn, if we want to get this Gangplank leveled up with a reasonable amount of time, right? If we're just hitting our opponent on our turn with our attacks, say we start with the, he's not here, I was looking for the 1-cost elusive fearsome. But if we start dealing damage to our opponent on our first turn, then it's going to be like turn 9 before we can actually flip this Gangplank. And so if we're looking to get him reasonably flipped on like turn 7 or turn 8, then we need some ways to deal damage to our opponent. And so with that, to that end, we do get dual synergy out of Make It Rain, right? If we want to play Powder Kegs with Make It Rain, if we want to deal damage to our opponent on their turn, can do it with Make It Rain. And so that is kind of one of the important cards to find here. Same thing applies with Death's Hand out of the Swain side. Just we're looking to find some kind of way to deal damage to our opponent on their turn. And ideally, we aren't just doing it with units or with things. We can, do it with things like Monkey Business, things like Monkey Idol. These will make powder monkeys on our opponent's turn. these cards are pretty weak, but you know, it's in general a way to do it. And so, you know, that's kind of the overarching theme. You know, hey, how do we get value out of these powder kegs? The other sub theme I really like to pursue with Gangplank is, you know, trying to take advantage of plunders. That is another additional way to get, you know, dual value out of Make It Rain if we're going to use it to activate a black market merchant or a pilfered goods or even just something like a jagged butcher, or you know, our good friend down here Riptide Rex. Just, you know, everything here builds around the Make It Rain, and so we typically look for like 2 or 3 of these with the Gangplank style decks, and then we try to find a little bit more direction as to whether or not we're going to try to get some focus on these powder kegs, if we're going to get some focus on trying to speed level Gangplank, if we're going to get some focus on plunders. You know, we can try to figure something out, but you know, Make It Rain is the card that kind of holds all the glue together. The glue that holds it all together, we should say. So let's pick up the Gangplank here, see who falls up next. Okay, come on, bud, you can get down. So interesting little set here. We do have a Draven for the Noxus set. I don't believe he has Death's Hand specifically in this card pool, but you know, we might be able to pick some of them up in wild picks. So he's all in all pretty reasonable champion. Not a huge fan of the Lucians in these kind of spots. There's just no combos between these pools that are going to work out particularly well. You know, we're trying to get this kind of early game aggressive theme going with the Gangplank. We're looking for some kind of ways to just deal direct damage. None of these themes exist within this Lucian pool. And so Lucian himself looking for you know, some early game plays, which we can get out of Bilgewater, but there's not going to be any of like the self-sacrifice plays. There's no ways to kill your own units. There's no challengers, and so Lucian's really happy to be in these ultra aggressive decks. But you know, he has a few other specific requirements that just aren't met playing with the Bilgewater cards. And so lastly, Ezreal can be a pretty reasonable choice. One of the things that works out pretty well with our Gangplank here and him generating powder kegs are the AoEs. And so if we're able to find things like Electrostatic Shock or Chempunk Shredder, very good ways to just get AoE damage in. And then kind of the other big synergy we get with Ezreal is Make It Rain, that we talked about so much, is a targeted ability. And so a single Make It Rain could, in effect, tick up your Ezreal 3 times. And so very powerful combination with Ezreal. And I do believe it's who we want to be taking here. I haven't had a chance to draft a real Ezreal build around. Maybe we did it like once since he was reworked to the 6+ flip, but only dealing 1 damage on targets. I think we got in 1 draft with him, but I mean, that's been months ago. And so finding a good pairing with Ezreal, I think I'm pretty happy to chase this down. So let's get him pulled up here as well. Ezreal and Death's Door. And so yeah, this pool, it pairs up with Thresh and is just meant to be a whole bunch of removal spells, trying to find a way to get some kind of value out of them. And so you know, removal spells in limited formats always pretty good. And if we're looking to level up our Ezreal, we are going to be looking for a big pile of spells. And so, you know, here's your Aftershocks, Gotchas, Mystic Shots. Don't recommend Death Ray, but it is a removal spell. Static Shocks that we kind of talked about, Thermogenic Beam, and Tri-Beam and Probulator. Just a big old pile of removal spells. And then if you're on the Thresh side, there's even more. I don't think every single removal spell lives here, but there's just quite a few. You know, Grasp of the Undying, Unspeakable Horror, Vengeance, Withering Wail, Atrocity, Crumble. Like, there's just a ton of removal in this card pool. And so, nonetheless, if we, you know, do decide to pursue this Ezreal build around, I'm not 100% certain that's how we want to start. But, you know, there should be a lot of combos between the two. Make It Rain gets happy, just actual all over the place. And then this does have a lot of, you know, actual just damage cards. That's how all this removal is done. We aren't playing with things like Vengeance here. And then there are some AoEs, right? We got a Static Shock, we got Chempunk Shredders, and so plenty of ways to get additional value out of Powder Kegs. The big weakness between these two pools, though, you know, there's reasonable early game cards in Bilgewater. There's not really ever any good units within Piltover decks, but it does have the Eager Apprentice in the early game, who is very good. But you know, the top end is extremely lacking, right? You know, you're really counting on something like a Plaza Guardian not even in this pool? There he is. Yeah, it's like you're really counting on something like Plaza Guardian as far as your top end units go. Bilgewater doesn't really have any good top end either. I mean, you can get access to some with like sea monsters, but outside of finding like Riptide Rexes or the Dreadways, there's just not a whole lot of good top end in these pools. And so, if we're looking to mesh these two things together, we should be able to find reasonable early game. We should be able to find a ton of removal. We can hopefully get some kind of synergies going with Powder Kegs and Make It Rains. And then we're just going to have to find a bit of top end to close this out somehow. But these should be a pretty reasonable set of cards to start with here. Okay, this is a reasonable set here. It doesn't really define us as either being an Ezreal or a Gangplank deck, but Parlay is a targeted removal spell, good with Ezreal. It is a way to deal damage to our opponent on their turn, good with Gangplank. And then the Dreadway deckhand is a pretty reasonable 2-drop, just coming down and making a Powder Keg, hopefully trading with something and boosting up a Parlay or something like that. All in all, pretty good stuff. Here, we just don't want any of these Noxus cards. We're pretty happy to just be Bilgewater and P and Z here. If we see a particularly juicy epic, maybe we'll go for it, but it's not a huge deal. And then over here, I don't really want Crushbots or Puffcat Peddlers. Peddlers can be okay here. We are planning on picking up a big pile of spells in our deck, but it's not something that we have to go out of our way to pursue. We already have one. We'll probably end up with 2 or 3 over the course of the draft, but I don't feel like we need to immediately run out and grab these. Okay, so interesting set. We're getting some garbage one way or another. I don't really want either of these units. They don't play to any of our themes, which kind of sucks. I don't like more powders. This card is really prone to failure. It can be good. I mean, if we wanted more powder and to make it rain and clear out a bunch of 3 health units, that's not the worst thing you could be doing. But it's pretty high risk, high reward, and I don't like the amount of risk that's required for the little bit of reward you get. So not a huge fan of this. And then down here, Aftershock, of course, a reasonable removal spell, but I don't really want iterative improvements in my deck. And so since, Make It Rain is really the big build-around card between all of these pools, it's what we're going to be taking here, even though we're stuck with a more powder. Okay, interesting little set. I don't want more powders. We're going to dodge these as hard as we can. I think I want the Jagged Butcher Zap Spray Fin. It's tough passing on Mystic Shots. Hopefully we'll be able to pick up, 8 or 10 or 12 of these, but it's okay to let this go for a pack this high quality. I think Zap is, all around pretty good unit, good little piece of card advantage, and then something to help stall out the early game in the Jagged Butcher. I think these are both very good picks. Okay, interesting little set. Do note, you've been warned. I don't. Man, I was trying to think if this actually targets. This is kind of one of these things. Like I kind of get how this works in Magic. If you think of the card like Clone, it comes into play. It doesn't actually target anything, and so you can clone a hexproof unit. But this doesn't actually say target. I can't remember how these cards actually read in this game. It just says deal 2 to anything. I'm pretty sure this counts as a target. But it's more clear with like Make It Rain, right? Deal one 3 times among different randomly targeted enemies. So, it is a big pile of text in here, but it does specifically say targeted in it. But seeing Mystic Shot not say target, Parlay doesn't say target. Hopefully, Ye Been Warned will count as a target. But, it's a nice little piece of interaction. Hopefully it counts as a target. Hopefully it counts as an Ezreal tick to give us a +1 bonus. And then Fortune Croaker is an all-around good early game unit. Help us churn through our deck a little bit. It's good stuff. I'd like to have the Pull Shark, but we don't want Vault Breakers. I'm not a huge fan of Chief Mechanist Zevi. I mean, there is an argument that maybe we should be taking these. One of the problems we can run into with Ezreal is just having spells at the end of the game, and Chump Wumps give us a big burst of damage if we have our Ezreal already flipped. Maybe we should just go ahead and take these. That's tough. I did just complain about our top end here, and we have the opportunity to pick up some good top end. Maybe we should just go for it. Oh, and then as soon as we make the top end comment, the Riptide Rex shows up. And so these other cards don't really compare to his strength. He also combos with Ezreal should you ever need to get the super targets going. And then Strong Arm, not a huge fan of, but it is a removal spell. Maybe we'll be able to pull something off with it. Okay, then this one's pretty easy with the Boxtopus Make It Rain. I'd like to find one more Make It Rain. I'm okay with stopping at 3 since we've kind of found some Powder Keg cards. If we're just in like a general base plunder kind of deck, I don't like Make It Rain as much because there's just not as many cards as there used to be to hit with this. You know, this was pretty strong during the Rising Tides. The addition of making this cost 3 mana instead of 2 is not that big of a deal, but the big deal now is there's just not as many 1 health units running around as there used to be. And so I really only like 1 or 2 of these in not Powder Keg decks, but having a bunch of kegs, I think the Make It Rain is good here. Okay, let's pick up another one with a Riptide Rex. That's going to be an easy little snatch up. So I guess our top end is good now. We don't have to worry about that too much anymore with the 2 Riptide Rexes. And so let's see how we can just kind of clean up here a little bit. The things I'm not happy with now are basically just our spell count. I want our spell count to get a little bit higher. I would like to pick up a little bit of card advantage since we did let like the 2 drops kind of slot away from us, and so. I'm interested in this Pilfered Goods You've Been Warned here. I do believe this counts as a target, but these should be fairly easy to pick up. My problem here is I want the Get Excited. This is clearly the best spell of the bunch, but we don't have any combos with the Gearhead. He's just going to be a 1/1 quick attack, which is pretty bad. Maybe we'll get lucky and be able to trade this away, but since we're also looking for some card advantage, I'm going to take the Pilfered Goods here. Okay, well, interesting. I'm not excited about having 4 Make It Rains, but this does kind of fit in all of our needs. Again, we're going to skip on the Sea Monsters cards. If we hadn't, just picked up 2 Riptide Rexes, I would be a lot more inclined to pick up some Plaza Guardians, but these don't feel very necessary here. So I guess 4 Make It Rains it is. Okay, all right, so I'm kind of interested in the Eager Apprentice, and then I'm not usually a huge fan of Suit Up. But there's just no combat tricks in these card pools, and so if we had some kind of like targeted spell, I would be okay with going after it, but that's not really where our deck's at here, and so I'm happy to pick up these Apprentices. We don't have combos with the Navigator, we don't need the Plunders, we're not going to be I don't believe we're going to be a dedicated Gangplank deck. I mean, I guess technically we could. Kind of counting on Make It Rain a lot to work with Ezreal, but I just don't think we want the Island Navigator. And then Slippery Wave Rider, there's a lot of aggro decks that are really happy to have these be your top end. I just don't think we're it. It fits a nice little open spot in the curve here. These are really good at closing out games, but I think I'm just going to go with the Apprentice in the spell. Okay, all right. Well, here I am happy with the Fortune Croaker Scrap Shot. I always talk about picking up one of these kind of catch-all, get-anything removal spells. I would prefer it to be Thermogenic Beams in this deck, but we just haven't seen any, and that kind of is what it is. But we get a touch of removal with the Fortune Croaker. We got this get-anything removal spell. Hopefully we can get rid of this this Strong Arm at some point. These both just fit into our deck pretty good. Okay, not an exciting set, but another Fortune Croaker with the Coral Creatures will work out just fine. And our last one, what's going to be our big trade here? And I'd love to trade away Strong Arm, but not for monkey business. I think this is fine. We can get rid of Crushbot for some of this high-quality removal. Crushbots are typically okay in these control-style decks. They're really good at stalling out for a long time, but Mystic Shots are just too good here. Okay. And as usual, we're going to have to go and upgrade somebody in our deck. I'm pretty sure Jagged Butcher is already upgraded. So let's do this. We're kind of this powder keg build around. I think our deck will feel pretty good to have some Dreadway deckhands in it. We can go and make some premium powder kegs that our opponent should have extra trouble dealing with. And I'd like to pick up about 2 more of these as well. So maybe that'll help things show up. Searching for deck is not the most easy way to find a card. So cool, yeah. Welcome to Team Premium, Dreadway Deckhand. I think you're going to be a big help here. Okay. Okay, yeah, this came together reasonably well. I'm not super excited about it, but we filled in a lot of the holes, right? We got those Riptide Rexes for the top end. I think I'm reasonably happy with how this came out. I would like a little bit more removal. Okay, one of the odd things with these early games is that, we only have 1 copy of Ezreal, 1 copy of Gangplank. Both of them are super powerful. And so I do like to go out of my way to go ahead and keep these in the early game, even though they cost a pretty big chunk of mana. Let's completely shut down his attack. Get a good Jagged Butcher here. Good stuff.
Let's get to it. Humanity is obsessed. There's plenty of killing left. System upgrade.
Alright, things are looking good. How do we want to pursue this? If we're going to just kind of like go all in on leveling up this Ezreal, this is a pretty reasonable board to be both make it raining and more powder make it raining. Would like to get, you know, this Gangplank tick in on his turn. I'm kind of inclined to just make it rain now. See how this plays out. How bad is this ever going to be? Can't play Ignition. What are his combat tricks like? Okay, I'll take the bait on whatever it is he's trying to play. I don't think we need to get a block in here. And then this is a pretty important piece of damage we're putting on the ballistic bot. It lets us kill it with an Ezreal Mystic Shot. It lets us kill it with a Jagged Butcher if he's trying to get it in combat. This is all in all pretty good make it rain. So now if he wants to spend his time playing a Pale Cascade to save his unit, very good for us. Look at that, 2 ticks on Ezreal, 1 tick on Gangplank. Good stuff, good stuff.
Can you improve perfection? Fire till nothing moves.
Okay, then the awkward thing we run into here is if we play Ezreal, he can follow up with this bigger ballistic bot. But I think this is okay. He's going to have to, if he blocks with this thing, he's going to lose it. If he's risking losing this one, I think this is all pretty good for us.
Flesh was weak, but look at me now.
And if he has, like a Whirling Death, well, I guess he can't Whirling Death, but if he has something to interact with Ezreal, it's not the end of the world.
Inferior design.
It's pretty safe Mystic Shot onto his ballistic bot. We already got our Plunder in for the turn, so we aren't worried about leveling up our Gangplank. Get this weakened up a little bit in case he wants to try to interact with our blockers next turn.
Firing.
Okay.
I hope that was mud.
System upgrade.
Sure. It's kind of scary, but not super scary. We can perhaps just plunder it next turn.
Safety disengaged. A ticket to the gun show.
Alright, I think we're okay at this point. I'm just going to go ahead and Fortune Croak. I do want to fully bank this spell mana next turn, and then kind of see what happens here. This attack's not like super scary, and I think we can get something big going with Ezreal's Mystic Shot. Oh, it's just not going to do anything? Beautiful, beautiful.
System upgrade. Time to get rich.
It's at 3, Gangplank's at 3.
Pitiful.
Okay. Bit unfortunate, but not too bad. Where's our Gangplank? We didn't get a plunder this turn. So let's Gangplank. We'll try to parlay his ballistic bot, and then pilfered goods after the fact. Potential to suck if he has a combat trick here, but yeah.
Safety disengaged.
Blade into ignition, sure. This is tough. Like, if this was like a round 3 where we had 3 copies of Gangplank, I'd be all about just slamming it right into this ballistic bot. But with him being our only copy and being pretty close to flipping him, it's kind of awkward.
Prime and ready. Fire till nothing moves.
You dream it, I'll build it.
And we'll see what he does. I would suspect he's just gotta like hook our powder keg with the ballistic bot. Let's see. We'll see how he feels about that.
I write the rules
Okay.
of power.
That it? Saving your buddy? So, I mean, I think this is okay. I think we have enough raw power just to accept that this sucks. We can try to box to post down this ballistic bot next turn. They should have a tough time burning us out. I just worry about our units getting Whirling Death here, which would be a real problem. Sure.
Can you improve perfection?
Seem a little pickup if if we had more than just the one unit here.
Let his knee out!
And I do believe we need to crash in with our Gangplank. I wanna get these ticks in. Maybe we should have just blocked with him last turn, but we do have some pretty reasonable interactive elements here. Okay.
Ring the foot. Ooh, you wee scrub.
Swear this guy says ring the fucking bell. Every time I can't get over it, that's what it sounds like he says. We're done with this Gangplank. He has to do something now or we're just gonna lose to this ballistic bot.
Your fate was written.
Okay, that was bold.
It is written.
System upgrade. Hey, take it.
Man, I wish we just had like a little bit more mana. If we could get a ballistic bot tick down next turn, that would be great. I guess we can level up our Gangplank on our next turn with this ballistic bot, but it'd be nice if we could have gotten that free powder keg before we got our attack in.
Weapons golden as the dawn.
Okay. Curious why we just play this now, as opposed to trying to gain the health off of it next turn.
More equipment for the field.
Oh, double monkey business. Hell yeah. Said no one ever. It's fucking terrible. Okay, I mean, we're going to have to throw Zevi in front of this thing. There's no two ways around it.
Fact, I am superior life form.
But if he doesn't start adding stuff to the board, we're going to get a pretty big open hit on this guy. It is. Okay. Is he gonna have Riven Sword as well? So we just have to block this thing with Gangplank. Yeah. So it would be a 12? Oh, alright, all the reforges. I guess at least we get to do the mathematics before this unit actually slams in. Is this enough? 14?
I'm gonna cut you.
Built to spec.
LOL. So,
You don't have clearance.
So ordinary.
do we want to lose our ballistic bot here? The problem we run into is we can't. I think this is fine. We don't care about. Oh, buddy, you started emoting too soon.
Do I look like a pig?
Can you improve perfection?
Yeah, LOL. So okay, we should hopefully be able to lethal him here.
Double trouble.
One of these.
Legs. Where are you off to?
You can again whirling death out of this, but yeah, there you go, boys. That's what happens when you emote too early. Awesome. Always makes me feel good. That's one of my favorite things in life. Okay, so I mean, we do have a real question here. We haven't like really decided if we're going to be a Gangplank or an Ezreal deck. I'm pretty sure we want to be an Ezreal deck with all of these Make It Rains, and this helps out pretty well to that sense. I don't care about the peddlers, but having more removal spells is good. I don't want 5 Make It Rains, so I think this is who we wanted to be building towards. It's tough with Ezreals, though. I mean, this is one of the things I used to talk about quite a bit, in that, you know, there's certain decks that, you know, really care about their champions. Like, if you look at, you know, say a Heimerdinger deck or a Lux deck or an Ezreal deck, one of these things is just like full building around a champion. You know, it's pretty tough in round 0 when you just have one copy, right? If you went out of your way to, you know, say build around this Ezreal, you have a bunch of crappy cards like Make It Rains and Electrostatic Shocks. You know, it should be really tough for you to win round 0. But then if you get to your 3rd win and you have 3 copies of it, then your deck should really explode in power. I'm not real sure how to, you know, ever kind of like balance that kind of thing, but it's certainly a play. Like with a deck like this, right? If we're building to Ezreal, we have one copy. It kind of sucks, you know. To whereas if we're building to like say Shyvana, or you know, then if she doesn't get drawn, then who really cares, right? She doesn't really do a whole lot to interact with the rest of your dragons. So this, I think we need to go ahead and play the Croaker. I think he just blocks like a large percentage of the time, and so I at least want to get our value out of this as opposed to just playing a 2/3 unit.
Nothing but a footnote. You're disrupting my research.
Okay. Surprised he didn't just block. Like, what's going to happen next turn? You're going to attack, and we're just going to block.
The dead don't need riches.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm going to suit up. Like, what else are we going to do? Yeah, gotta start spending these Make It Rains at some point. I'm all on board with the suit up, but then we have to decide. I think we need the Mystic Shot as well. Let's do this. Let's do this. Save our unit. We just don't have any presence on the board. I think he's going to be an important one to save. And then if he has like a Whirling Death here, then okay. You know, he's not going to have board either. But with a hand as awkward as this one, I think we need that little bit of help. Yeah, that's fine.
Sure, waste my time.
Again, another awkward one. This will be okay.
The depths could claim me.
I was really hoping he would play 2 units here. I wanted to get a 3-tick make it rain. But doesn't appear like that's going to happen. Play unit. Play 1 drop.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay. I was like, come on, actual anything we can play, please, please. I'm gonna spend 1 so we can pilfered goods, but not real excited about this. Sure. And then I guess, you know, given the state of things here, we're really just building to these Riptide Rexes, and so pretty okay with just banking some mana. Can deal with this Gangplank. He's a reasonable block here. Start playing Riptide Rex next turn. Zap? I don't think so. Let's get Demolitionist down first.
Empire.
At least this way, if he wants to come in with these 2 units, we can
For the
just
glory
threaten to
of
put
Mother.
Gangplank in front of his Crush Spot.
Crying won't do any good.
Then I suspect, you know, something is up here. But I'm really just planning on playing a Make It Rain Riptide Rex next turn, and something going wrong here is not a big deal. But I guess how much have things changed? I don't really want to get like 0 value Riptide Rexes. Let's just zap,
Go with the flow.
draw some kind of card here, and then look to Rex next turn, on his next turn, I should say. Doing a much better job at trying to level this Ezreal than we are. Okay, let's see where that gets us.
They don't know what they're up against. Don't blink or you'll miss me.
Go ahead and spend it. I think there's a pretty good chance he just comes in here and attacks. But, you know, let's see if we can't get him to run out another card, right? You're typically going to try to, like, bait with this Ezreal. I think we're just going to get killed here.
Don't miss. Gotcha.
They'll be blown in the water.
This Mystic Shot, that'll take us to 3. He has another spell, we're probably just dead. What? Are we at least dead this way? You could have just killed us. Yeah, that's that's how you want to go about it. Okay. So we can apprentice, we can make it rain, we can Riptide Rex. Hopefully that'll be enough. Probably not, but okay. I think that changes anything. Or you only do 6, right? We can't technically like even warrant his Swain and punch in some damage. I don't think that's going to be good enough. Get the other Mystic Shot here. Okay, alright, we're not a little stunned. Riptide Rex, but we're not dead, which is the important thing.
Excuse me?
Nothing can stop me.
Gonna get there?
Nonsense!
Okay, I'm just gonna block with the big one.
You fight with that?
He has combat trick, that's fine. Okay.
Double trouble. Time for a field test.
What you got? Okay. Ooh, all right. Well, we shouldn't have won that one, but he Mystic Shotted our Riptide Rex for some reason. But nonetheless, his misfortune was our blessing. And so, what do we want to pick up here? I'm okay with trading out parlays for petty officers. Just another way to pick up powder kegs. I'm not a huge fan again of things like more powder. I am a huge fan of things like Dreadway, Deckhand, and Petty Officer. And so I think these will be okay, given that we have 4 Make It Rains. We need a way to boost those up a little bit. This would be pretty good. Pass on Croaker, he's important. We could try to pick up Chempunk Shredders though. I think I kind of like this early game interaction. Let's take the Petty Officer. Okay, on to the next one. Is this the old dragons with some Zoe in it? I was gonna be like, man, of course, right after we get rid of our make it or get rid of our parlay, and it's like we have 4 Make It Rains. I don't think Zoe is something we ever particularly care about here. But nonetheless, I want to have a lot of early game plays against what's, gonna be a dragon deck. So, not sure how he would have managed his dragons like this if he starts like Shyvana Zoe and then picks up an Aurelion Soul, or what he's doing. But we're most certainly going to be the aggro in this match, and I feel pretty comfortable go ahead and playing the Croaker first. If he adds like the 1/3, then that kind of sucks. But then dragons don't have any other 2-drops that interact favorably here.
Let's get to it.
Like one of my old man hairs is sticking out. It's weird. You get old. I'm very old. And then, you start losing the hair here, and then start picking it up in your eyebrows and ears. It's fucking strange. It is what it is. I guess if that's as bad as life gets, then we got it pretty good, but... Okay, this is pretty decent for us. I assume we just can't attack with this. Yeah, the assumption was off base. I'll happily trade. This is where we're going to start to fall behind, and so we're going to have to start chunking in as much damage as we can. Right, whenever he starts to add a whatever, a 4/5 or 5/5 dragon next turn, nothing we can do about it. So
The more we learn, the less we fear.
hopefully we can burn him out with the peddler. Yeah, come on, bud.
You and I have met before, haven't we?
So if we're gonna double Make It Rain, I think this will be okay. I mean, he's just gonna hook our Puffcat Peddler. Unfortunately, don't have the mana to get a Deckhand plus double Make It Rain, but it is what it is. Alright, let's see if this hits appropriately. It did not. That is not good.
My pretty.
Okay. Ooh. Okay, well that Make It Rain can do some work.
Packed 'em good.
What once was two, now is one.
Maybe. Not excited about this Golden Sister coming down. I don't know what we're gonna do about that. Dropped him to 2. Unfortunately, just like can't kill him here. But I think we have to go ahead and take care of the Golden Sister. Right, we can't let him like untap and get 2 attacks with this thing. The scary thing here is if he has like a Sharp Side or a Targon Shield, then we just lose the game. But I don't think we can burn him out before this gets to attack anyways, so I at least want to try and take care of this thing before, you know, he can like riposte it or back-to-back it. So let's at least limit our exposure to the tricks he could have.
This'll send 'em running.
He has Trigon Shield, we just lose. But I mean, I think, you know, we... Oh gosh. What? Why would you ever block with Screeching Dragon?
I will find you.
Just block with one of these. Interesting.
There's plenty of killing left.
Alright, let's get to doing that plenty of killing. Maybe we'll puff cap him and get to hit our pilfered goods. Nice. Nice. Okay, we could have just scrap shot this thing, but I think we're okay with just kind of the blocking for a little bit plan. Right, we're never going to get a combat in. Take the 1. Zoe, sure.
She started it.
Need this to finish with 3 health. Big damn wood.
Daylight everlasting.
Leo, that looks yet?
Can we just Zenith Blade here? I don't see why not.
First, remember?
And if he wants to block with his wolf or broodmother, whatever this is, he'd still chunk in 3 damage. Otherwise, I mean, I assume he doesn't want to be taking 5 damage from this thing. Okay. You found your silence or your crescent strike.
I've never seen a specimen without wings before.
Well, our Ravoon survived. We got a point of damage in. I don't think we could have asked for much more. We're one short, aren't we? We can block this. We can block this. We can do this. We can single combat down. Oh no, that's right. We do this. Then we want to single combat down the Golden Sister. This way, right? Take 5. Or would we rather just scrap shot it? Is that a little bit safer? No, I want the mana for these mushroom clouds. he has a barrier, we lose either way. Yep, works for me. Oh, this got us in a pretty good spot though, right? We could double puff cap. We have 2 powder kegs in our hand in the event that we draw a burn spell. Right in it to win it there. We're just a little bit short. I think we would have been okay if he hadn't, well, had the golden sister. We would have been able to buy a lot more time, or we could have also scrap shotted his dragon instead of just kind of letting it sit around. Maybe that's the route we should have taken. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and pick up the deckhand here. I don't feel like these Jagged Butchers are super important, and I like having the Powder Keg excess. I would love to get rid of Strong Arm, but Smooth Soloist is not a unit that we're looking for. Okay. Well, I mean, we got our Ezreal flipped that game. We just never drew him. That was kind of what I was alluding to in the previous game, as to where these decks are at a bit of a disadvantage before the 3rd round, but then should be pretty strong after the fact. Okay, let's see what we can do here outside of monkey business being complete and utter garbage. Maybe. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! It's been a long time since I've done that. It's been a long time. Just overclick the opening attack. Happens. So we do have to kind of worry about whirling deaths, but we'll get Ezreal down next turn.
Pablo's been down, and his knee out. I told your ancestors to protect. Tor, did you should have stayed home, pal?
Sure, I would say it's tough for him to have like a unit or a spell we realistically care about here. So let's just go ahead and get the chunk damage in.
There's plenty of killing left.
Should be at 14. If we didn't just punt that all over the place. Okay, whatever the reasoning is for this, I'm on board. Whatever trick or anything. Okay. That's good. Protect our Ezreal. Now we're in a spot where we can open and then protect him more with suit ups.
Oh, I hear them. Nailed it. Firing.
Okay, should again be safe. Let's get this monkey business going. Alrighty, seems reasonable. Right on track to burn him out. So our Ezreal's never getting into combat here. I guess we do have to kind of worry about another Noxus Blast. Not very exciting. Okay, hopefully that'll be enough. I wanted to maybe get a bait on this, but now that we have an Astral Protection, I think this should close it out.
Can't stop me.
Okay, so we can still like +2 health here, but I think we should be okay. Giving up our chance to strong arm the Eclipse Dragon. It hurts. It hurts. Alright. Would have felt much better if we didn't skip our turn 1 attack. It's the kind of draws you need to take down dragons. All right, this sucks. You gotta pass on the Dreadway, which is quite unfortunate. I'm pretty okay with double ups in this style of deck as well, but we have to take our third Ezreal. It's just what we're building towards. We can't let it go. He's not out there. If you catch me looking over this way, we had an outdoor kitty, and we're moving shortly, so that is going to cut into my video time here soon. But we had an outdoor kitty we were taking care of since we're moving. Had to find a new home for him, or which we did. But I felt so bad, like when I started taking care of her. I trapped her, took her to the Humane Society to get her fixed and get her shots and all that stuff. And then I was like, well, now we found these new people. I ought to be able to just trap her again. Might have to like move it around or whatever. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. And it was. I just could not get her to cooperate with getting in the trap again. And so like she's like a super super sweet little kitty, and like I'm the only one that she would ever let go out and pet her, and I'd go out there and pet her, and she was super happy about it. But it was like I had to trick her so that I could get her caught to take her to the new people. And I just felt so bad about it. I was giving her pets, and then to go out there and trick her and pick her up, act like you're gonna give her pets, and then wrap her in a towel and put her in a cage. I was like, oh no, like this is not how I wanted it to be. Like it was so completely okay when it was like if it wasn't just like so deceptive. Like I'm so happy that we found another set of people that could take care of her. But it was just so bad that like that had to be our last interaction of leaving. Just giving her a trick and being like, yeah, I'm gonna pet you. Like your one human friend in the world is gonna give you these pets, and then just to be so deceptive. It in the heart piece and felt bad, but hopefully she'll understand and feel better in the future. This is fine. Like I'm not super worried about this Zoe yet. We're gonna have an answer to deal with her. So the more he's what? Oh fucking come on. Alright, I guess we're not going to open attack with that thing. So let's add Zap. That was my idea. I wanted to jailbreak open attack, but the cards did something. I put it down, I guess I re-clicked it back to the board, and then clicked on the end turn thing. So I guess my APM's just way too high. Okay, I'm not quite willing to risk him having a Pale Cascade in this spot, so I'll hook Zoe with the Zap. Again, we aren't quite to the point to where she's ultra scary. If she was at like 8, I would be worried about it, but I think we have time to do like Powder Kegs, Gangplank Shredder or something to take care of this Zoe. It's like I felt how I handled this when I drew Riptide Rex. It was like, okay, like how much mana do we have to deal with here before before we're able to pull this kind of thing off? Suit Up was a big draw. Would we ever just want to like shred this and lose? I don't think so. It's gonna like hook our Zap. We can suit up. We're gonna take a 2-hit. Our health is pretty safe at this point. Okay. I'm on board with all of this. Block Crescent Guardian with the Coral Creatures. Okay. Right, now we get to more powder shredder. Hope that our opponent doesn't have a mystic shot for our powder kegs. Did I mess that up? I thought this cost 3. We have the mana to do this last turn? That would have been pretty reasonable to do last turn. I guess it is always scary if you're going to try to do this before they attack, but... Okay. There's the whole point of the Mega Keg deck. We did that. It's been done. Can't imagine I ever care about what he pulls off of that. Okay, so we're at 3. 6 will be at 7 mana next turn. Alright, I'm going to leave the Shredder back. Ideally, we'll be able to just make it rain this Priestess, but I wouldn't be surprised if he blocks our Draven's biggest fan with it. Yeah, such a sweetheart of a little kitty. She was so good at killing stuff. It was so awkward. Like, I had to shovel many a dead animal over the fence. But yeah, it's my understanding that cats do that because they think you're a terrible hunter, and they're doing you a favor when they bring you chipmunks and mice and snakes and stuff. I'm not 100% sure on the on how much truth there is to that, but that's what I've been led to believe by the internet. Okay, we're just gonna get a big Riptide Rex next turn. I think we can annihilate his board and get pretty good attacks. Like, he's gonna get a warrior onto Zap, which is okay. Then we'll have the big damages come through next turn. Whether or not we have to make it rain or Mystic Shot his face, we'll see. But I think we're gonna have to take the Mystic Shot to face path here.
Built to spec.
Or we could double deckhand Make It Rain, which I do believe I like a little bit more.
Nothing left when I'm done.
Let's see where this gets us. Gives us a little bit of interaction for our next turn.
Packed 'em good.
System upgrade.
Okay,
These gems grant a wearer harmony.
Can you
you
improve
got it.
perfection?
Nice. Okay. So yeah, don't think we care about this ballistic bot. It's, you know, he can give it a +1, which is, or he'll have an ignition next turn, which I think is okay. But then we can still plan to Mystic Shot Riptide Rex.
Yeah, I'm out of play.
Let's get our littles in here.
I know your true heart.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm good to play for a bit of value here. It's tough for him to burn us out.
System upgrade.
I could use two with me.
Safety disengaged.
So we need 12 if we want to do this whole set. We have that much. Okay. And then I know I ran into this before, but I'm not 100% sure what happens when you play Riptide Rex into an empty board. I don't know if it just... I don't think it just does 12 to face, but I mean, we're about to find out. Yeah, just 12 to... No, nope. Why was it just 6 to face? Oh, because he's the enemy, right? Randomly targeted enemies. Deal 2 to a unit if it's dead, deal 1 to the Nexus. Probably just messed this up. if I'd have known this was how it was going to play out, I would have rather just had Scrap Shot up. I think this is fine.
Humanity is obsolete.
I cannot turn back. I will be heard.
Yep, would have been nice if we could have just like gotcha'd this and then... Alright. The beam, sure. Alright, well let's see what we can do here.
More equipment for the field.
I need more hands.
Okay.
Witness perfection, meatbags.
Is that? He really... Trail of evidence a ballistic bot, huh? Okay.
Grog if you work, burn if you don't.
Okay. Got the width to just power through that, but... Okay. So let's see. Well, okay, here's our chance to get rid of monkey business. It's like I do like having a good collection of these 1-drops, and I think we've been getting pretty lucky to draw our Jagged Butchers as much as we have. It's mostly because they're premium, and that's the way it works. But we have the chance to get rid of monkey business for Jaw Hunters, which is just too good to pass up. Nice little interactive unit, some card advantage. Card that definitely isn't monkey business, and so you gotta get those upgrades when you can. Just get these horrible cards out of our deck. Okay. This has a lot of potential to be scary. Typically, when you're up against a Callista in the early game or in the early matches, it's not as scary, right? Because there's so much trash and filler that goes into a Callista deck. But once you're at the 4-win stage, she's much scarier.
I must get out of here.
Okay.
I've whipped up something special.
Let's see how this goes. If he just hooks our Powder Keg, it kind of sucks. But I wanted to be able to pop
I'll buy us some time.
Mist Wraiths with our Make It Rains. Just a couple things that can come out of this block. If he has, the big thing that I worry about coming out of Callista decks when they keep Hapless Aristocrats on the board is how likely they are to be playing a be playing a Blighted Caretaker. How okay with this are we? I think this is fine. I don't really want this thing growing. My idea here is I'm just going to play Petty Officer for the unit, and then just try to be aggressive. Nice little pickup. Right, because he's going to have to just block with this Aristocrat if he wants anything to happen with it. That sucks. It's lost so much of our aggression.
Got a surprise for him. You have to get me out of here.
We shall pierce their treasonous hearts.
Do we care about her? I mean, it's a risky proposition to just try to go for I don't think we can do that, right? If we try to say like Powder Keg double make it rain and something goes afoul, can't have that happen. So I think we just have to kind of accept that she's probably going to flip. How do Ezreal things though?
There you are.
Okay.
Come this way.
Ooh. How lucky do we have to get with this to hit his Callista? If we block, we're gonna need 2 hits, right? Because she's gonna flip. I don't really like that. I think I'd rather roll the dice on hitting this guy and then seeing if we can't deal with her via Ezreal next turn. This will flip our Ezreal. If none of these go face, doesn't look like anything went face. So she flipped, cool. We protected both of our units. And then the second one has to hit his Bark Beast, right? Just given the way these cards work. Why are you 1 short? We just targeted 6, right? Did something hit face and I didn't notice it? Fine. Okay, let's see here.
I thought you'd never ask.
Yep. I want to hit this. Then we can do Mushroom Cloud things next turn. Or I guess it could be more important to just keep the Scrap Shot up. Probably the case. So we can Scrap Shot his Thresh when he tries to hook our Ezreal. Because if Ezreal dies, we are in a world of hurt. Okay, alright. I'm on board with seeing this guy just play units I don't really care about. That's always a feel-good moment, right? We have to accept that he can probably just Thresh hook our Ezreal. Okay. It has been accepted. And he's already played 1 card. It's hard for him to have combat tricks. He needs like another Unspeakable Horror. Or he needs a hook our Ezreal. Fuck. She brings out another Undying.
Oh, take your time, pal. It's not like I've got better things to do.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Interesting. So let's see. We don't have any puff caps, so we're never going to hit a Make It Rain and get this Riptide Rex out. This Riptide Rex isn't good against him anyways. He has all these stats on these Undying units.
I know you're thinking and stuff, but could you maybe... excuse you. Oh, that's a harvest right there.
Let's see how it goes. We hit? Oh, we hit the thing, so we take down his Callista. Oh my gosh, we just hit so perfect. Well, I guess this isn't the perfect part. It'd been perfect if we hit his Onlooker, but... Let's take down this Callista, get some chunk damage in. Alright, I have to assume he's going to have an Unspeakable Horror. Why else would he hook Ezreal with Thresh? Oh, because he flipped pre-combat. I guess that's another reason to do it.
Suppose I should leave you be.
Gonna have so many Undyings. Can we just completely fill out his board with the Undyings? Okay, well, let's see what happens. This isn't going to be any good. Kill anything relevant? No. Okay. We got the big boy on board now.
Oh, fresh soil.
Okay. It's gonna bring in a Callista. Is Callista bring out Undying? I don't know how this. Oh, he just doesn't have champions anymore? Or is it just not going to show it to us because it's a random thing? Random thing. Okay.
Say your farewells. What's that you got there?
Well, I guess we don't have to do it that way. We can. Oh, well, if we scrap shot Callista, it's going to hit this unit down here.
What's that you got there?
Best run while you can.
Okay. What we can do. This is out of reach without our Ezreal, but I'm not happy with that. We shouldn't have made it rain or maybe we should have played Riptide Rex last turn, but we probably should have just killed Thresh. This is just a little bit too much to deal with, but yeah, come on, bud. Come on, bud. Yeah, come on. But let's keep at it. See what happens here. Zap will get a spell. There's a Mystic Shot. That's a good one.
Danger pays.
Okay.
Fell into him.
Woohoo! Captain's orders. Bullet to the face.
Better than eating.
We have to be real cute with our mana? I don't think so.
I'm on it.
Okay, so we're gonna hit him for like enough puff caps so we can just burn him out, right? That's the that's what we're gonna do here. And of course we hit for 0. Come on, game. All right. That was awkward. It's way too much stats for Make It Rains and things to be effective. Very, very powerful deck against what we were doing. At any rate, with moving on, I think we want to pick up the gotchas. We're still a little lighter on spells. I kind of want our unit to spell ratio to be a little bit closer to 50-50. And so it sucks to pass up on the card draw, but I think that's where we want to be. I don't want Death Rays. I want to keep our butchers. Trade has been accepted. I guess the things we should have looked at is if we could have got ourselves in a spot to where we could have protected our Ezreal, like kept that Thresh from flipping. I mean, when you're just spewing Make It Rains at boards, it's kind of hard to pull that off. But our deck also has a real hard time winning without having Ezreals, so could have taken a peek at that. Yeah, should have just scrap shot that Thresh on the turn that we played Riptide Rex. Been a little bit happier with those outcomes, I think. Hey, weird combo, Jinx with a Hecarim. Same plan here. Don't need to hang on to these Make It Rains when we have 4. Hang on, I'm gonna find some early game plays. I think it's going. Things are going. Okay. Discard Stalking Shadows. Interesting. He's going for it. That's for certain. Hopefully Make It Rain, if he's, in Fishbones, hopefully these Make It Rains will be very good.
How can I help?
Of course, we don't have any at the moment, but, if he's going to have a big pile of 1 health units, hopefully these will be good. I think this is good, right? I mean, I imagine if they're starting off on the first turn, getting a Poro Cannon and discarding a card advantage card, that they're just going to try to be like super aggro into you. So I think I'm happy also trading off our Eager Apprentice for... I am confused. Jal Hunter should be a safe play. Just hook whatever he plays. Yeah, it's daring Poro, it's kind of awkward, but I have to assume he doesn't want to throw it in front of our Butcher. Thought wrong. I'm boozled. I'm not sure what this guy's game plan is. It's so awkward. That whole sequencing has just been so weird. Discards Hecarim. We're not playing Magic here. You don't have to have swamps to play these Shadow Isles cards. I'm not sure what's happening. We're so close to turn 6. He's discarding that. Is he just gonna like spew out a Jinx and discard his hand all in one turn or something? He just picked up like all of his expensive cards, but if you picked up all your expensive cards, why are you discarding Hecarim? Since there's very few expensive cards better than him.
Just you and me, Fishbones. And them.
Okay, let's wait on his attack to come through. Then I'm going to assume he's going to have some kind of like hook or something to stop our Jal Hunters. That's okay. I just think we're going to have to deal with that. What we're ideally going to be doing here is we're going to hook his Jinx with this Jal Hunters. We're going to maybe draw a removal spell with this. We're going to maybe pick up a Pilfered Goods somewhere. Pick up one of his removal spells with Pilfered Goods. That's the plan. It doesn't seem like he's completely agreeing with what we're offering up. Okay. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to add Peddler, and I'm going to add a deckhand before we play Gotcha. I feel like if he wants to flip, he can flip, and so this is kind of hinging on a Powder Keg working, but he hopefully doesn't have enough to stop both our Powder Keg and our Jal Hunters.
Fell into him. This'll send him running.
Like this, I worry about a static shock, so I don't want him to have good static shocks on both our Hunters and our Powder Keg. He has a second, get excited, this could be very bad. Okay.
There they go.
Seems very good. We should be able to pretty easily outcard advantage a Jinx deck with no Jinx. We'll see if he if he slaps another one down. Or I didn't watch to see if any of those get excited were physical jinxes, but ooh, a pesky specter. Look out.
You dream it, I'll build it.
Shadow approaches.
He's playing multiple Hecarims. That's why he discarded one. Okay.
I'm a peddler, not a meddler.
Assume he's just doing this because he's going to lose it anyways. But I want to keep our Zevi healthy so that she can battle with Hecarim and still survive.
More equipment for the field.
Okay. All right, you got it. So, all right, cool. We can get rid of Strong Arm. It's just these are incredibly awkward. This is a card I felt like would have been very good in initial impressions, and then just never really played out to be worth it. It's just too hard. I think it would be. I don't know how to make it better or worse, but I know how to make it better, make it cheaper, and take Plunder off. What if this cost 2 mana and didn't have Plunder? Then it would be a good card. But it's it always just feels a little bit too awkward, right? You typically have to spend like some mana to get your Plunder, and then to play this, it's hard to find a home for that. But we're happy to pick up Petty Officers. Great early game play. We're not having issues running out of cards. I think we were passing on salvage. That's why I'm calling out that we didn't have issues running out of cards, and get to improve our quality with a few more powder kegs here. Okay, scouting it out. It's odd seeing Fizz in here. Curious if that means we're gonna run into a like a fishbone style deck, like if he started like Fizz Quinn and then picked up Misfortunes later. She's the actual premier scouts unit is Misfortune. And then I'm not 100% sure how this interaction works. Then the thing that'll cause us a lot of problems is Fizz, right, just cancels the spell. So it puts you in a spot to where, you know, you're trying to get a make it rain off. It's spread out pretty well, and then Fizz just stops the whole spell and not just a piece of it.
Don't blink or you'll miss me.
This is a clicky board. It's about time for some more boards. They got the
Nailed it.
there has to be a new event coming up. I'm just going to let this Mystic Shot go. It's not really high valued. This guy we're playing against is going to have to be the aggro here. There's no way that this Scouts deck isn't the aggro. And so I think
I'm one of the good guys.
just soaking that mana is going to be much better than the single Mystic Shot. Okay. Very good for us. This has to be soul crushing for this guy. Ezreal's halfway there. Good stuff.
It's not bragging if you can back it
Get
up.
our attack in. Kind of want to get a bank in here. Let's see if he adds anything. There's kind of a lot going on. I want to protect Ezreal with Suit Up. I think this is another good spot to just pass. Right? Again, he has to be the one wanting to be the aggro. It's not ideal, but get a block in on it.
Pablo's been down, but his knee out.
Heard there was a little fella asking for me.
Nothing we can do about this, right? We can level up our Ezreal, but then he can't... Well, let's see what he does. Longtooth will kill it, Ezreal as well, but... Curious how he plays this out. I think I'm still going to want to suit up Ezreal just to slam a bunch of damage on his units. Oh, let's make it rain work. Or hang on.
You're in for a whooping!
No, we don't need to do it like that. We can do it like this. Might be a little greedy, but I think this is okay. It's leaving all of his units with 1 health, and we have this Make It Rain. We can open with the Make It Rain.
A win streak!
Okay. Our future Ezreals are ready for battle, should we ever come across another one. Then I think we're good to pass here. We can try and make it rain Riptide Rex through whatever he's trying to do now. Right, we're going to open on our Peddler. We can make it rain, get the tick in. Hopefully Riptide Rex is next unit.
As they protect us.
Fortune favors the bold.
It's a lot of stuff. Okay.
He smells something.
This can go wrong. This has potential to be bad. Okay, we hit face. We did not hit the Green Fang Warden. The Green Fang Warden would have been a huge hit, but
Love ya.
More with that kid. There'll be blood in the water.
All that firepower for little old me.
AoE this whole board.
I'll be damned.
Oh, I thought we got everything. Okay, there's more animations.
He started without me.
Sure.
Danger pays.
How far are we from deep? Got a ways to go.
You pay.
Got a ways to go.
These are my rules. Stare at the abyss. It'll stare
We can
back.
fully interact with his things here. I assume he's not going to want to bring any more units down, but as long as he's not slamming too much width on the board, I think we're okay. It's technically a spot we could maybe pass. Kind of sucks if he's, drops like 3 or 4 challengers all at one time. Or 3 or 4 scouts, I should say, not challengers. But dealt with both of his misfortunes, at least that's done. Have to worry about fizzes too frequently.
Nagakaburu's guide us.
Okay, let's say his Sith-3 is more likely to be the one to die here. And if he has a riposte or a back-to-back, we probably just lose, but
Set the hooks.
I think that's okay. Gotta be doing something here. Right, like if he riposts his Sith-3, ooh, nice, nice.
So soon.
And if this isn't open, it doesn't kill us, and so we can at least throw out some units now as well. I think this is good. A little closer than I like it to be, but I think it's good.
Dangerous waters.
Sithria is here to party. I want to draw a card here. We'd be pretty happy to pick up a removal spell. I'm going to put the damage on Riptide Rex. He's probably going to have to suit up whatever Longtooth blocks. So at least if like Longtooth hooks our Abyssal Eye, then we can maybe give Riptide Rex some health. This turn's all about surviving. We wanted to play this to get a blocker down, maybe draw, you know, a Mystic Shot or something. The thing I'm curious of is if he has a combat trick. It feels like if he had a combat trick, he would have played it last turn, but you know, if he was holding on to Island Navigator and holding it back-to-back, then it would have been pretty high quality to have it this turn.
Have a mushroom. Have 3.
Charge?
Yeah, we're blocking everything. Just whatever we can do to not die. We gotta suit up our Abyssal Eye to try to get this unit off the board. Gotta put God down here.
I've always been a fun guy.
No tricks, please. Okay. We're still dead though, aren't we? Okay. Weird, why wouldn't he just start with that? Oh well. So let's see. Typically, typically okay with picking up Devourer of the Depths, but not for our one scrap shot. We need to keep our kind of kill anything removal spell. Getting rid of the Peddler for the deckhand is okay. We've still got quite a bit of AoEs here, and so get some good value out of these. Okie dokie. See if we can't make it to the final battle. Expected much more Ezreal flippage, much more easier time than than we've been having with this, but it is what it is. Oh, they double make it rain into I think a 5-unit board and only hit 5. I think that was is that what happened that game? Previous game? It could be awkward. I know we double made it rain and only got 5 ticks on our Ezreal. Don't remember the exact board. Okay, these Aurelian souls are everywhere. I imagine this should be a decent matchup. They have to be slow, right? So let's, you know, let's aggro as good as we can, and then hopefully we can get ourselves in a spot to where we can close out with an Ezreal. Not a bad little aggro start. And of course you can always in these spots, we're not going to be doing it here, but you know, you can play deckhand and then fortune croak your little unit, but your powder keg, but shouldn't be something we need to do here.
The dead don't need riches.
Okay. You got it, boss. A little unfortunate this can shut down our unit, but we're in a spot to get a good Ezreal thing going here.
Witness glory.
What do we think about this? Right? It's clear that he's. I think we just want to get this off the board.
Have faith.
Not opposed to that. Then we can get our Ezreal going now. And then if he plays like a follow-up 3 health unit, then we can do this like deckhand into Mystic Shot. Okay, and get this Priestess out of here.
Bask in her
I think the question after that comes down to like, do we want to play the deckhand after the fact, or do we want to just bank here? And that's probably a pretty safe bank. Got our big 1 tick on Ezreal. Things are looking up. How bad could this go? Can't be that bad, right? We can play Powder Keg, we can gotcha this White Flame Protector, then have a pretty big open. And then if things go wrong, he still just, doesn't get the tick up with that. Alright, I think we're in a spot where we need to be opening. Don't have to open now. But I was thinking that, we just want to open. I'm probably not going to play the Mystic Shot. We're still pretty far away from getting this Ezreal leveled up. And then I'm just wanting to get the Mechanist on board.
What's that one? And that one?
Finest gear for Piltover's finest. I could use two with me.
Alright, well, that's how you get a bunch of Ezreals in your deck. You just draw them with the Mechanist. So, I think the big thing with this turn is this Riptide Rex is going to flip our Ezreal. And I think that's how we'd like to go about it. So, I mean,
Best run while you can.
we can do something to get this out of the way. I'd prefer the board to be clear before we try to send in our Ezreal.
Happy to do whatever's
Or
needed.
try to send in our Mechanist. Okay, let's get those Ezreals shuffled back in. Play our other Ezreal. Then we'll have an open again. Get this big chunk damage in with the Chief Mechanist. I guess there's not a whole lot of reason to even add our other Ezreal if we just want to try to chunk in for 8 with the Boxtopus. Okay.
Firing. No way.
I kind of like that. That took a long time to flip back over. It was like, oh no, what have we done wrong here? This is okay.
Built to spec. Time for a
Where are you off to?
Scrap Shot. Not the best card to be drawing with Zevi, but I think it's fine. Big thing here is getting this Plunder in and activating our Riptide Rex. Okay. I think we're much happier to see that go on a unit than go to face.
A win streak. There'll be blood in the water.
Alright, well, welcome to Flipsville, Ezreal. Seems like we're in a pretty good spot here.
double trouble.
Okay. Not the worst pickup. Might hit some things we can do with the creatures in the Ezreal.
There's another one.
Ooh, a Jettison. Exactly what I was looking for. No, this is fine. Our Ezreal will be flipped. We can spew off a bunch of spells here. You can hook whatever you want to hook with this thing. That's completely fine with me. Let's get this combat over with.
We're done for.
So we can do it this way. We could technically like hush our Ezreal, but if that's his play, then who really cares?
Thought you'd never ask.
Okay. I felt like that was gonna be the outcome there.
I knew we had it all along.
So, all right, let's get these last trades. We probably got like 2 trades since we're so deep into this. But okay, as far as this goes, I think I'll kind of want to pick up these Plaza Guardians. I'm just not a huge fan of Puffcat Peddler in this deck, and our 3-drop slot is already pretty full. So let's at least pick up the bigger unit. Okay, a chance to get Chump Wump, and then I guess if there was ever a deck that Boom Ship could do something in, this would be it. Excuse me, but I still have no desire to play this card. I'm just going to pick up the beams. Just have a little bit more removal. Don't think I'm willing to get rid of pilfered goods. I still kind of feel like we're right on the verge of not having enough card advantage, and so I don't want to let that go. Don't really want Static Shock, but I do think it'll be better than Plaza Guardian. Okay, don't want Gangplanks, don't want Boom Ships. Ballistic Bot I'm not opposed to, but don't really want. Alright, let's get ready for that final battle. Alright, the final battle, we made it. This one's for the little kitty we sent away. May your time and your new barn be delightful. Full of mini mice, small rodents. Okay. At any rate, let's keep our 2 drops, move forward from here. Hopefully this will kind of pan out like that previous game. You know, Lisa and Anivia is going to be pretty slow as well. So hopefully we can, you know, get out ahead of them, maybe chunk in 8, 10, 12 damage before they take over the board, and then be in a good spot to burn them out with Ezreal. That was a really clutch Jagged Butcher to be drawing. No complaints from me on that one.
For silver I talk, for gold I listen.
Okay. And since he didn't add anything, we're safe to add Boxtopus, right? If he wants to, say, add a like Frostbite Archer, then that kind of sucks. But the idea here is, even if he wants to add a unit, we should be able to attack kill it with the Boxtopus, and then get our other units in. Looks like that's not entirely going to be the case with the addition of his Trapper, but I think this is fine. It sucks to be burning these beams in this kind of spot when we have a Make It Rain in, right? We'd much prefer to be killing his unit with Make It Rain, but I think we're still in the same ideal is applying here, right? Need to chunk this damage in. Once he adds a Yeti, we're just kind of done. So.
I thought you'd never ask.
All right, don't mind if I do. I want to go ahead and spew off the suit up in the event that he wants to try to Brittle Steel our Ezreal. We're gonna get it out of range of that. He can still, you know, play another Frostbite on him, but it's going to be very expensive to do so. Oh, buddy.
We fight for one Freljord.
There's another one!
Okay, kind of assume he's probably not going to have any more units here, but we're good to just go to face.
Firing.
What's he pausing for? You're going to troll chant here. Okay. All right, we're right on the edge of victory. Let's see. I mean, this game has gone exactly how we wanted the game plan to go. You know, just get ahead on board. He's going to start, you know, he's got to have like an enraged Yeti now, so he's going to play like Yeti and something else. Sure, he plays Anivia, and then, you know, on our next turn, we should hopefully be able to close out.
Today we fight as one.
Fought valiantly, Lee Sin. And then let's go ahead and block with our 1 health unit. It won't survive an Anivia hit. So can we actually just kill him here, right? We can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage, so we'll be 1 short. But we can clear out his board and get an open attack in, so hopefully that'll be enough. So let's do this. Well, can't do all 3, but that's okay. So we're going to want the unit on board, right? awkward. I think we'll do it this way. This represents lethal. There's a good chance he can get out of it with a, another frostbite. But this is gonna kill his Hearthguard, leave Anivia at 1, and we're gonna do 3 damage to face with this Make It Rain. Parlay is gonna be a 4th damage that we're gonna put on Anivia, and then we're gonna come in with this open attack next turn. Alright, let's see if he's got that brittle steel in here. Can these things block? I didn't think those things could block. Alright, well, we're opening. Alright, good game, friend. I'm glad we were able to take down the final battle for our little kitty friend. I don't want to say she's gone. She's still alive and kicking, and I'm sure she's enjoying the new barn, but she's not down here hanging out with me, and that makes me a little sad. But we're okay. We're good to go here now. A nice little 7 winner. And so yeah, we didn't get to do too much Ezreal flipping here, but I'm happy with how this draft went. A lot of the things we called out, we were able to take advantage of right here at the beginning. Right, so many of these drafts are about just finding 2 champions that are going to work well together, and just leaving ourselves open. We could have easily taken this and just tried to make a Gangplank plundery style deck out of it, but just kind of felt like with the 4 Make It Rains, or the 3, whatever we finished the draft with, it was just going to play much better with Ezreal. And so, that's kind of like the big takeaway from this style of deck, right? Is, okay, we're starting out with Gangplank. What's he trying to do? The big things with Gangplank are, if you want to level him up quickly, you have to deal damage to your opponent on their turn. The easy ways to do that being Parlay. Down here, we did cycle this out of our deck. And then Make It Rain. This is the real key and core to most Gangplank's decks are the Make It Rain. And then, so, the question beyond that becomes, okay, we know we have to deal damage to our opponents on their turn. Are we able to get anything else out of these cards? And so, if you're looking at the Bilgewater side of things, the way to get additional value out of them is with plunders. If you're going to be doing things with Jagged Butcher, you're more likely so with the card drop, the Black Market Merchant and the Pilfered Goods. It's another just synergy that we can get pulled out of our Make It Rains. Or do you want to go with the Powder Keg style of theme, which is what this deck ended up doing. And, if you're going to be doing things with the Powder Keg, you're going to be specifically looking for AoEs. And so, that's how the Bilgewater, ideal that we had, those were the themes that we were going to be looking for, And so just to that end, that kind of really cuts out like Shadow Isles to a degree. It cuts out Ionia. It cuts out Targon. None of those factions have any damage-dealing cards in them. They don't have any AoE effects. And so, right from the beginning, that's not quite what we're looking for. So then down here in Pack 2, we had the choice between Ezreal and Draven. And both of those work reasonably well, right? We talked a lot about having Death's Hand with Powder Kegs. Talked about finding some additional values with our Make It Rains. And Ezreal is just the fantastic way to get additional value out of Make It Rain. We did get some full Ezreal ticked Make It Rains this trial. It plays, of course, very well with Riptide Rex. And so, once we got this together, we really kind of focused in on this Ezreal deck. And so that doesn't present, a different set of challenges, but you kind of need to figure out what your strengths and weaknesses were going to be. We touched on that a little bit, and we could see that in a lot of those games, especially here at the end where we just started crushing these Aurelian Soul decks to where, we have really good early game. There's so many good early game units within Bilgewater. There's some, aggressively costed good aggressive units in P and Z, mainly the Eager Apprentice, but also the 3/1 that has quick attack, great early game attacker. We knew that we were going to have access to a ton of removal spells, Just being in this Death's Door Ezreal, that's what it does. It has a ton of removal spells. We knew we were going to be able to pair up those removal spells with Powder Kegs, so AoEs were going to be good. AoEs were going to be good with Ezreal as well. So, we kind of have this web of good things happening. And then, the weaknesses that we're going to run into, right, is we're going to struggle against, like, the Dragons decks. They're going to get bigger than us very quickly, and we can't attack through. We're going to have trouble with anything else that's, more aggressive than us, since we're just kind of this like combo-esque deck, and our late game is terrible. That was kind of the last thing to call out. The Chief Mechanist Zevi, okay. The Riptide Rex, he's of course pretty fine, but these are, a lot of hopes and dreams for closing out games and not guaranteed wins that you would see from other factions. And so, all in all, it's a lot to piece together. There's not like a specific deck that I really like to push towards here. This is one of these things where I hope I'm able to help you understand the concepts that come along with these things. And so, how do we have an effective Gangplank? What are we going to be trying to pull off with this Gangplank? The big things are activating plunders, dealing damage to our opponent's turn, and then if we're going the Powder Keg route, AoEs. If we're going to level with Ezreal, we want a really high spell count. We want some of these targeted AoE cards like Make It Rain and Electrostatic Shock, and then of course those AoE cards play particularly well back here with this Gangplank synergy. And so I don't want to pass out any very specific advice on this card pool, except as far as the Powder Kegs go, you specifically want your Gangplank, you want Dreadway deckhands, and you want petty officers. The thing you do not want is more powder. This card is just very high rolly. We were able to safely and effectively use this today. That is more the exception and not the rule. And so, as far as Powder Kegs go, those are the big ones to be finding. And then as far as Ezreal goes, the big thing for him to level up is finding Make It Rains. It's very, very tough for Ezreal to come in and expect you to play like 6 removal spells and then have additional spells left over. You really need to be getting Make It Rains or being Freylord for some of their targeted abilities to get Ezreal leveling up. Otherwise, just very tough to do spewing off 6 spells. Like we would even have. Is there a count on here? I can't see over here on the right. If there's look at this, 37%. So we had like 13 spells, 12 spells. And so, if we're spending 6 of our spells leveling up our units, then, or leveling up our Ezreal, it doesn't leave much place to close out the games. So he needs those AoEs. But yeah, all in all, pretty interesting little deck. If you're getting in this, find your AoEs, keep things aggressive, get the right Powder Kegs, and be on your way. But that is going to do it for us today. It looks like we have a reward to click on here, so let's take a peek at what shows up in our Epic Capsule. Then we'll be out of here. Y'all can be on with your day, finish your breakfast, whatever you do. But yeah, that is it. So I hope you all learned how to make it rain just a little bit better. You had an educational moment or two, and you had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.